right, welcome to the Staying Woke with DJ Show, episode 6. We're going to do the love and relationship one. So, let me first introduce my guest. I've known this one the longest. Actually, I think I know you about the same here, probably.
I don't know.
It depends on how long you've known him.
Yeah.
I've known him since like church days, like 5. Like,
Okay, you probably know him longer. I think you were more around like the middle school.
it was like middle school,
So,
probably.
yeah.
All right, so
He
then
was
I
that
introduce him first. So,
Oh,
this is-
wow.
All right, so this is my man Marcus. So he's a producer, right?
Yes.
So I've known him since.
Producer slash, what else am I doing right now? Producer slash drummer, slash Lyft driver, slash, budding entrepreneur, among other things. Father, you know, like I wear a lot of hats.
Right.
A whole lot of hats. So.
I can see it.
Life's good.
The energy's like, man.
Yeah. That's like, I guess the unfortunate negative is like sleep doesn't
Exist.
Yeah, it doesn't
Like,
exist, but
just
you know,
always on the go.
I'm blessed still, so.
So it seems like you got a lot going on earlier offset scene. You know, we were talking about how you're trying to start a new company, right?
Mhm.
Tell us a little bit about that. What's going on with that?
It's a shoe store. Thinking about like trying to make it like mobile, but there's some things I'm trying to work on. So I don't want to give away too much.
Okay.
But definitely, I'm looking to get into shoes. It's something that I've been into like my entire life. Like anybody that has ever met me, shoes. So I have some opportunities, and hopefully I can take advantage of them.
Okay. So, as far as things that you got going on, you know, where can people find you?
My IG is HDMG_massacre. You can find me on Facebook. It's Marcus Massey. I am not really active on Twitter because I don't know. I'm just not.
Yeah.
And then you can find like my production page is beatstars.com/HDMG_massacre.
Okay, cool business. All right, so next is Kim, the all-around artist. Like, I couldn't even, like, when I was like, how do I want to introduce her? I'm like, she's an artist.
We're not talking loud enough.
Oh, we're not talking loud enough?
No.
So,
Oh, my bad, people. We'll talk a little bit louder for you. So yeah, just all around artist, man. So tell me what's going on with you?
Most recently I've started training to become a doula. So I'm looking at being like a birth doula, labor coach, lactation consultant, doing that kind of stuff. Just helping families through that process of growing their family. So it's what I'm really working on right now.
Cool. So you still writing, doing anything like that?
I still do a little bit of everything. I'm always doing a little bit of everything. That's just there. But it's all mixed in.
Okay. So like, do you have like any professional pages where people can like get info for what you got going on?
You can probably find me the easiest on Facebook, just at Kimberly Glenn. It's just my name. And on Instagram, I am not so diva like _, between each word. That's it.
Okay, cool. And then we got not last, not least, Cece,
Yes.
who is our poet. Funny story. Cece was actually my first guest on my podcast when I did the Two Americas. But there was an issue with the audio file, so we lost the entire interview. So I had to record the entire interview over again.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, I was in this room staring at the computer like, I want to burn it alive. I was so mad. I'm like, please let it be somewhere. And I searched this entire computer for it. It was like, no, it's gone. It's deleted.
That's crazy. Yep.
So I was very upset. But either way, it was still a good show we had. So she kind of knows how I do things here a little bit, even though she gets lost for the second time in a row.
Yeah, I did. But don't judge me.
Yeah.
I was sitting in this room like, is this the same room?
Yeah, so you don't even know.
Like,
She was like, was that computer?
yeah, I was like,
Oh.
what computer did you bring? It's okay though.
Well, I did just as bad, so I won't say nothing about
Sometimes
her.
I'm a bit different. It's a happy place. So. But yes, I'm
At least
Cecilia.
it's happy.
Or CC. Stay easier. But,
So, tell us what you got going on.
so, I do poetry. Most of my poetry is to be uplifting or have a subliminal or blatant message of self-love. I'm trying to be a self-love advocate. And that's like the avenue I'm taking with my poetry. Even though, I have other stuff that, poems about other stuff. But most of my poetry stems from a place of growth or self-love or motivation. And I plan on writing a book and continuing to do videos. Like, I record poetry videos and stuff like that. So we'll see where that takes me, doing podcasts and motivational events, things of that nature.
Okay, cool. So, for perspective with the topic, we'll just go through our relationship status. So, obviously I'm a male. I as a male.
Oh gosh, we ain't going there. We are not going there.
Immediately,
Just going for it.
hey, I like that.
Single and divorced, so that's my perspective. That's who I am. Marcus.
I am simply single. Not single and divorced, just single.
He's just single.
Also a male.
Also a male.
That is very
okay.
key. Yes, I am male. Male.
All right. Kim.
I am a married woman, and I'm a married woman. That's it. Married.
Okay, and Cece.
I am a woman, and I am single.
Single. Okay. All right, so
Pull the camera closer
I might have to.
or speak up.
I don't know. We'll see. So let me first dive into it. I'll let y'all do that while I just did.
Okay.
Is marriage still to go?
You're asking me?
Yeah.
Is marriage still a goal for me? Not necessarily. It just depends on the situation and the person. But I'm like, not seeking marriage. I feel like, yeah, I'm going to marry is going to come into my life. But in the meantime, I don't meet people like, I'm trying to get married. I meet people and just see where it goes. Let me see if we connect. Let's see if we're cool. It's not like the pressure of marriage being the goal. But if I'm in a relationship where I'm committed to somebody, then absolutely, down the road, that's the goal. Unless I feel like I need to stay out, then I will.
I feel like it matters to like different people. Like a lot of people are just like, if we cool, then I'm cool. They don't need to have that next step. So I feel like a lot of people date now, it's just like they don't date the person with that intention, right? Like back in the day, that's what people did. Like they dated you, they courted you, it was to get married. Now it's like, let's just hang out and see what happens. I feel like that's kind of the new trend with our generation right now.
I would definitely agree with that.
Yeah, I don't think it helps either that the divorce rates are what they are.
Right, divorce
I
is
think
scary.
People see like those rates, they see the craziness that happens inside of marriages anyway, and I don't think it's as much motivation to reach that point now.
Agreed.
Yeah, I would say, to answer the question, I would say it's still the goal, personally, but I can definitely see how it would not be. And I think a lot of the things that you see via social media, via, watching TV, it kind of scares you off. And unless you're like in a space or with people that's how they move, that's how they think, it's probably not going to work for you, which I would also probably attribute to the divorce rate. You know what I'm saying? Like it's people don't have the same.
It's not. It's like it's no love for it. Like it used to be like this thing where it's like, oh, I get married, have a family, I have the house to go, all that whole thing. And now it's just people like, I feel like people are extremely cool, and I feel like this is a product of it. People are extremely cool at having multiple baby mamas. Like that's a for real. Calling like, oh yeah, I'm his baby mom.
Yeah.
You don't want to be his wife
That's
or
there.
girl. Like it's just like, no, I'm baby mama her too.
Yeah.
I mean, no, go ahead.
Oh, with that, people are doing all the things that used to be like set apart from marriage. Like people are having kids anyway. People are still living together. All the things that you used to get as part of a marriage, people have inside of their relationships anyway.
True.
So it's like everybody doesn't
What's the
really see the
point?
difference between them.
Yeah. it's like almost like the only reason to get married would be taxes.
But see, I'm not
Yeah.
trying to play house unless I'm married though. So like, I
That's
can
true.
be in a relationship, but until we're like engaged, you know, we ain't living together and playing all that. No.
I was strict about that too.
Yeah.
I was not.
I mean, I did live with somebody once, and that's probably who I am. You know, it's life lessons.
Yeah, I mean, definitely for me, like with my divorce, it's like the interest really for me isn't there anymore. It's like, cool, if I'm dating you, then I'm serious about it, but it's like I've already lived my life kind of already. So it's just like I'm more so focused on me and my kid first, like, trying to go through the whole rigmarole of finding someone, getting married again. Been there, done that for me. You know what I'm saying? I think a lot of people are like that. You know, once you like, a lot of people have like that serious relationship where maybe they do have a kid with somebody, and then they're just done. Like they'll just date and have fun now. You know, all they do is work, kids, that's it. And have, you know, somebody for late night, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's like I guess it's like a question of like values, because you know, like I have a kid, so like I want my child to see a 2-parent household.
Mhm.
Because I grew up in a 2-parent household, so the value of it I lived, right? So I want to be able to provide that for my child. But it's like almost impossible with the way that our society is right now. Like
Mhm.
to find somebody that's on the same thing, it's just like,
Yeah.
why? Why even try? And just chill. You know, that's what you want to do anyway, so.
Okay, cool. So that's gonna lead me to the next one. And I got a lot of flack for this, as I told y'all. When is an invitation somewhere natural date? Like, if you meet
Oh,
you
God.
meet somebody, right, or you hang out, just whether it's business, a family friend, whatever, and I say, hey, this event's going on. Hey, you want to check it out? Like, is that automatically a date because we're hanging out, or does that need to be said?
Well, I think that when you have the intent of getting to know somebody, to see if I connect with you, or to see, like where this is gonna go, is kind of considered a date. But I think that the word date, it just puts a lot of pressure on things. Like, it just, to me, if you say I'm gonna go on a date, that's kind of like, let's see if we click and see where it goes and see if we can grow and be something. But, if we say let's go hang out or go catch, I don't know, a movie or something, that doesn't necessarily have to be considered a date if your intent is just to be cool. I think it's just more so your intent behind calling it a date, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
I can see that. I'm kind of old school with that. Like, I believe in being invited out. I believe in a guy making plans, kind of stating that he has an interest in me
Mhm.
and wants to hang out with me and get to know me like that. If those things happen, then I'll consider it a date. But if he just says, hey, you want to meet up and get drinks, then I'll probably be like, okay. But I'm not looking at you romantically. Like, I don't feel like that's your intentions.
I agree.
So.
Like, that's, for me, that's what it's always been. It's like, if I just casually say like, hey, let's go somewhere, I didn't put like any effort and planning in and whatever, then it's just us hanging out. Like, a date for me is like, we're gonna go do this, we're gonna go do that. Like, it's a planned process. You know what I mean? It's not just like
Yeah.
hey, let's
Yeah.
kick it for the one time. Like, I'm actually planning this. Like,
Right.
I mean, you can have off-the-cuff dates, but like, wouldn't you just say it? You know what I mean? Like,
You mean like you put it out there, this isn't a date, but
no, I'm saying like, if it was a date, wouldn't you just say this is
Let's
a
go on a
date?
date.
Like, I don't know, but I feel like you would just communicate that. If I'm like, hey man, you wanna, or if like, not you, like,
Right.
if I'm, I call some girl and I'm like, hey, you wanna go to IHOP? I just want some pancakes.
right.
You know what I'm saying?
I just want to see if you wanted to come. Like, I just.
It's not even all that at all. Especially if you know this person, if you've established something before, like, oh, we're just friends right now. Oh, okay, cool. Do you want to get this food or not?
yeah.
I don't know.
I agree.
That's simple.
But it was so funny. Like, So it was like last year, for my birthday when I turned 30, like I invited this chick out to kick it with, like I had an event every single day. You remember like that? Remember when I had an event every
You went
day?
hard.
Oh, yeah.
It was my birthday. I had an event every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But it was various things. Like it was dinner. We went to the 85 show. I had like a Saturday where we went down to the Rinky Dink or whatever. Because I know some people got kids. So, okay, you can come celebrate my birthday with me and bring your kids. It's perfectly fine. It's a family event, right? So I invited her to that. Now, mind you, I invited probably like 10 or 15 other people. But she was like, well, this was our first time hanging out. I'm like, I get it, but like, birthday. Like, just come and hang out. Like, and like, she was like, oh no, like, this is a date.
Oh,
Wow.
My mom's right here. Like, how is this a date?
I mean, you could go on the first date with your mom. First date is eat Thanksgiving dinner. Theoretically.
Yeah, that's the business.
I was
my
like-
whole family. Like, okay.
I'm saying, like my uncle was there, my sister, my dude, and his boyfriend was there. Like, it was just a general, like, hey, come kick it. And she was like, no, this is a date. No, it's just an invitation.
Was she offended? Did you clarify that it wasn't?
Yeah, and I explained afterwards, like, hey, you know, this wasn't a date. And she was just like, no, it was. Like, it was
Okay,
the
girl.
whole first impressions and everything. And I'm like, and she had got mad that I had got drunk. I'm like, it's my birthday.
Oh, God.
You mad that I'm drunk on my birthday?
Yes.
I'm like, oh man, clearly the way I'm thinking out here is jacked up.
So she's going. Yeah.
Oh, there you go, bite the dust,
Yeah.
right? And to this day, like, as I see her, because like we work in similar spaces, so I see her every once in a while, and she was trying to do like petty little stuff like I don't notice, but I'm just like, see, missed the bullet on you, because like where you at and where I'm at is just not the same, clearly.
That happened.
I just think you got to communicate. I don't think assumptions do anybody good.
Man.
No.
Man.
Like, it's not hard to just say like, well, hey, these are my intentions. This is what's up. If you ask me like, well, is this a date? No, we're just chilling. Then I said what I said.
Yeah.
And just take it for that.
So, do you think it's something in particular about that made her feel like it was a date? Like,
What?
was it just the fact literally that she was like,
It sounds like she
Come
wanted to go
out.
on a date. Like she wanted it to be a date. It sounds
Right, like she
yeah,
wanted it to be a
no,
date.
This is a date. It's like, okay.
We're never left. And like my whole energy with it was just like, hey, cool, you know, if you want to come by or whatever, that'd be really dope. It wasn't like, hey man, I really want you there. You know, like, it wasn't like I singled her out like that. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like, oh yeah, be ready, I'm picking you up. Like,
And that
it
was-
wasn't
So
like.
you never gave her that energy before this? Because I'm not gonna lie, I'm not getting it right now.
No, no.
So this was even more. So I had her number. I had her number a month before this. There was no dialogue. Like, we didn't text and say like, "Hey, how's your day going?" I just had her number. So then I just was like, "Oh, hey, by the way, you know what I mean? You want to come to my birthday?" It wasn't like we were doing the whole texting back and forth. I kind of like you, 11 o'clock phone conversations. It was none of that. So how is this a date? But literally, the said, and this was multiple women, anytime you go out on a date with opposite sex, it is a date.
No.
I
Wait,
mean, that's
what?
what you want to call it, but that doesn't mean
Like
you're
you said,
intended
like
to-
if I say, hey, let's
Right.
let's go to IHOP,
Like,
that's a date.
I have dates with my girls, dates with my sisters.
Right.
I mean, if you want to call it a date, then that's cool, but it still doesn't mean my intent is to be with you.
Exactly.
Maybe we just looking at the word date.
Yeah, I think that's
Right.
it seems like
I don't know.
It's
Maybe
Maybe it's lost
Communication.
something in this current generation.
Well, yeah, because
See
There's
it
a lot of
different.
things that I feel like.
because people just hang out now, and some people will just hang out and want it to be a little bit more, like
Maybe
Netflix and
she's-
chill.
Yeah, maybe that's what she's used to. People inviting her to the house, so you asked her like,
Right.
you asked her out somewhere, and it's like, wow.
Well, I guess that does, because
Public.
Netflix and chill that's a date now, so.
It is totally a date now.
I guess IHOP is a
Non-date
date,
now.
It's
baby.
not.
It's almost like fine dining at that point.
Pretty much.
Wow.
Like,
Oh.
We're going to Applebee's to get the 2 for $20. Oh, this is a date.
This dude, cash out.
Right. Oh my God, I get the 2 for $20?
That's tough.
Ooh, no.
Man.
So, yeah, that whole thing was funny to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, my next topic is like, so when you do actually go on a date with someone, and y'all actually do establish that, hey, I like you, you like me. I stole this from her, so I'll give her that credit. When is an appropriate time to bring up marriage? Like any platform.
Literally?
Yeah, that's
you ask
okay.
one.
So, yeah, generally speaking, like we all are right now, is marriage the goal? I mean, yeah, you might say, eventually in my life, I like to get married. But when you're directing it towards the person that you're with, I'd say you shouldn't be talking about marriage until you guys like in love and being serious with one another. As far as when it comes to the like somebody saying, I'm looking for marriage with you. No, I think you need to be with somebody for a while. But if you come on a date,
Like
and
you should be on the
just-
first date, like, hey, by the way, I'm
By the
looking for
way.
marriage.
Yeah, like that's a lot of that's a big word to me.
So I don't even
Those
know
are
if
the
I
type
like
of
you
things
right
that
now.
make me
Yeah.
run off to the hills because it's just why you don't know. That's like somebody say I like you, but you don't know that they don't know you. Like to me,
Mhm.
words like that or like stuff like that is a big deal. I'm not like a superficial person, so for you to say you like me, okay, you like my eyes because you don't know me. Like for somebody to say like I like you or I'm looking for marriage, that's cool that you're looking for marriage, I guess, but don't generally speaking, you say stuff like that, in my opinion, unless you've been with somebody for a couple of years and then we can seriously talk about marriage. Like that's in my opinion.
I think it's the instant gratification thing where like people just go from 0 to 100 like
Yeah.
with everything that they're trying to do. Like someone's trying to build a business, they're like, oh well, I want all this massive support. Like you ain't even built a business.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and then people just swipe left, swipe right. So like we just get used to like seeing someone and be like, oh, I like that person, but you don't even really know that person. You don't even you haven't been in the close proximity to even feel their energy,
Now-
let alone liking people. Like I think a lot of times people make that assumption. That's why I said like with the whole thing with the invitation. If I do invite you out just to hang out, I just want to get to know you to see if maybe I do like you. But I don't know until we, exchange spend some time together or something. It's not an automatic like, oh, I like you because I'm talking to you. I'm trying to figure out if you worth me talking to, period.
I do believe in that though. Like some people do, and they just sparks fly and they just know. Spirit can just feel something for somebody, but still, give it some time before. I mean, if you just decide like this is the person I want to marry. But if somebody was to come in this room and tell me like they've been married 30 years and they just knew, I wouldn't think that was a lie. It just hasn't happened to me. I've never felt that way thus far in life.
I would say, I guess it's just, like, to piggyback off what she said, it's like, you just gotta know, I guess. And really, from the people that I talk to that are married, I talk to a lot of them. But I think what we don't do now, like people want to go from 0 to 100 because they don't understand the process. And you know what I'm saying? Like any marriage is going to be a process, and even getting to the point of wanting to marry somebody is a process. So
Right.
I guess in theory you could meet somebody and right away get married or whatever, but you would both have to know that like we're gonna have to work.
Yeah.
Because if
Yeah.
you're committing to somebody for the rest of your life, which is
A big
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's
A lot.
crazy.
It's a big
That's a
deal.
whole thing.
So we got a few people who said, Danae said, I would say a year and a half, then cool to bring it up. And then we got a few other people who just said, any time is a good time, talk about it sooner the better.
See, that was my friend's argument. They're like, well,
He said it's not a proposal.
yeah, like
I could see that.
my friends, it was just a small situation where marriage had came up via direct messenger. And I never even met this person. So I was expressing that to my friends, and some of my friends were like, well, he's being upfront about it. And I'm like,
You can't. I don't want to hear enough about marriage on the first date. Like,
Exactly.
period.
That's
Like,
you just
Yeah.
don't like. I mean, that's like a woman or not a woman, but a person going on a date. Like, man, I'm really behind on my bills. Like, you know, we're not talking about stuff like that.
Right,
I mean, that's a little bit out of context, but still, it's just like a lot of pressure on somebody. Like, you know, like,
I think that two people need to have at least some time spent exclusive. Now,
Yeah.
like how much time depends on the couple.
yeah.
For me, I would say at least 6 months together, just us dating, working through like the initial steps of getting to know each other before we have at least a general discussion like, hey, you know, I would like to be married one day. Is that something that you see in your future? Do you see something like that possibly developing between us? Like, I could see it going that way, but I would not bring it up like, yeah.
yeah, I
would
agree
not
6
do-
months because scientifically 6 months is when the lovey-dovey phase falls off, and that's when you
Yeah.
start really seeing a person. Because a lot of times, I'm pretty sure all y'all can attest to this, is like, you could be talking to someone and you can think you know them,
Mm-hmm.
and then you like, you really know, you like, oh no, I'm good. Like, you know, because you get out of that phase and you see like, wait a minute, you always jump to. Every time we get in an argument, you got to leave. You know what I'm saying? You got those certain things that you can't deal with. Like, I had a situation where this chick, like, she wanted to be my girlfriend. We was only talking for like 2 months. I'm like, I don't even know you. Like, you will be my girlfriend. We just, what?
You know,
I mean, I think it's fine to generally speak with things, because I mean, it's sad when two people, sparks fly and you guys are together and then one wants to have a kid and one doesn't. Those are big deals. Like, these are
Right.
life things, or
Yeah.
like, oh, I always said I didn't want to get married. Like, I mean, it's something that should be can be generally brought up, but just don't make it like a pressure. Like, it's just a pressure thing. For me personally, like, let's just keep it. See how you are. Move on from there.
Like, I think if we talk in marriage, like, we should both kind of know, like, we on that level. Like, you know what I mean? We should both be kind of looking at each other a certain type of way, like, hey, this might be for the long haul. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, I feel like you kind of feel that versus, oh, I just want to get married. When we gonna get married? Like, simmer down.
just to play devil's advocate though. Like, sometimes you want to find out early because you don't want to waste time. You know what I'm saying? Because just the way that your emotions work, the more and more time you put in with somebody, the harder it's going to be for you to cut it off. Like,
Yeah.
everybody can't cut off the emotions.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? So,
there's
yeah.
certain things that definitely should be like, just like, as an FYI,
Yeah.
but not as a, like a,
Yeah.
I'm trying to plan
Yeah.
against
Yeah, no,
you
no,
type
I
of
get
thing.
you.
Like, hey, by the way, you know, I would like to get married when, you know, you can casually bring that up
Yeah.
and me not feel any way about it. You just brought it up, like, hey, you know, or you just, let's say you see them on Facebook about a married couple. That was the perfect time to just like, hey, you see this married couple? Yeah, I would really like to get married. I like seeing couples like that. Like, you can casually just
Yeah.
let someone know some information without being like, so what's up? You trying to really do this for the long haul? Or not?
Right.
Like,
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
That
I
makes
guess
a
that's, you know, you gotta,
Yeah.
that's part of feeling that person out.
Yeah.
though. That's what I
Mhm.
mean by like the process, because some people you can be direct with that.
True.
You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
but you might not know that because you're so busy trying to focus on what not to do in the beginning. You could have just did stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
Yeah.
just be you. Because at the end of the day, if you're you, if that person ain't for you, then it ain't gonna work no way. So you might as well be you from the jump. Don't put on nothing. Just be you.
Oh yeah,
And
you
then,
definitely can't sugarcoat yourself.
Right,
Yeah.
and then
Sure.
just go from there. And then, like, you know, if you're a person that you want to be talking about marriage on the first
Yeah.
date, whoever
There's
that person
people.
is for you that's on that will be like, you know what? I'm crazy with you.
Right.
That's for real.
Let's be crazy
Yeah,
together.
Right.
let's go to Vegas right now.
Exactly.
I got the plane tickets.
Right, let's go. Book hotels.com. Let's do it, baby. You and me.
That's real though.
It happens like that. So, with that being said, we've already spoke about how, like, our generation just do things differently, right?
Yeah.
So the way we date each other is different because we got social media and all that stuff. So in this day and age, you know, we're still talking to people about 20 to 35, right? What do you think makes a healthy relationship?
A healthy
A
relationship.
healthy relationship. Because a lot of people have relationships, but they're not healthy.
Oh, a lot of them.
Yeah.
And
They in one of them situations.
For me, I think a healthy relationship is really built on like just trust. So, and you need to be you. So I truly believe like if you're gonna be in a relationship that's gonna succeed, you need to be with somebody that you can be 100% you all the time.
Agreed.
Right?
Mhm.
And once you can do that, then I think everything else from there will be, you work through it. And that's the best way for it to be healthy. You be 100% you, that person be 100% themselves, and you come together and make whatever it's going to be become that.
I was about to say something. Preach on that one. On that one.
Yeah. So I always say like the very first step is being a whole healthy individual. I think if you have stuff that you haven't worked through yet, you're going to have a hard time being healthy in any relationship.
Right.
So I think that's a really first important step, just being solid and being self-aware, like being able to see yourself. Because eventually, like, you're going to be in that relationship and your partner will bring up things and you need to be able to look at yourself. You know what? He might be right. Maybe I do jump the gun a little bit. Just like whatever little things come up. I think that you have to be able to look at yourself to be able to have a healthy relationship with somebody else. But as far as like a healthy relationship, like he was saying, trust I think is huge. I think also you don't necessarily have to have the same goals, but I think it helps when you have goals that are compatible.
Gotcha.
Like if you want to eventually like be really sedentary and you want to live in one place and this person's like I want to travel all the time and every other weekend I want to be somewhere else, like those are going to be things that clash. So I think you kind of have to discuss your goals long term just as a person and have somebody that wants the same kind of stuff as you.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, I for me, as someone who is divorced, that was a huge thing that why my marriage failed. Like she wanted things. We thought we wanted the same things. We thought, but we were also. Yeah, because I got married like 22, 23. So I had this idea of what I wanted my life to look like, and I think that's to your point of the self-reflection. You got to really know what you want in your life. Bring some, because again, I wanted one thing, she wanted one thing. We thought they were the same, but as we got older and more into ourselves, we realized they weren't. Like, she's the type of person, she wants to be able to come and go as she pleases. I don't work that way in a relationship. I feel like you have to be accountable to each other. Like, hey, a quick text is nothing. You know what I'm saying? But she just is like why I gotta explain myself to you. I'm grown and this is what I want to do. You know what I'm saying? So that might work with someone else who cool with that, you know? But I wasn't. I was like, no, this is not okay. Like,
You're not gonna do that.
I'm gonna go out and kick it with my friends at 2:30 in the morning. We got work in the morning. Like, what are you doing? Like, just so I just like very like conservative Christian mindset, which that's not how I am more. I'm more spiritual now. You know what I'm saying? And I do believe in having my mind open. I remember one time, like I was that guy who said, if my kid was gay, I would disown him. It was very naive for me to have that feeling, but that was also the culture that I was brought up in. You know what I'm saying? Now, I don't care. You know, if my son was gay, whatever, like the whole D-Wade situation, like everyone has their opinion or whatever, but at the end of the day, that's his kid. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You can't monitor somebody else's parenting. So I do think that you got to be open to who you are so that you can get with someone who is compatible for you and what you want your life to look like.
Yes.
You know, for me, my trait that I think when it comes to a relationship is communication. Like, and communicating effectively. Like, don't just be yelling at me or shut down on me. Like, let's actually call me out on my shit. You know what I'm saying? If I got a bad habit that you really not liking, call me out on it. And it's up for me to, you know, fix that about myself because I want this relationship to work. You know what I mean? So for me, communication is a big one for me.
To agree with all of you, I would say all the same things. Basically, too, is like being true to yourself in a relationship, always staying true to yourself. Like, don't let somebody change you, and also to rely on yourself for your own happiness. Happiness is your responsibility, and it's not fair to put that on any a child, a spouse, a boss. Like, nobody should be responsible for making you happy besides you. And there's also communication and understanding. Like, we can communicate all day long, but are you understanding me, or am I understanding you? Like, to find some understanding in that, and being, effective with it. Like, okay, so are we going to change this? Are we going to work on this? But I'm big on being true to yourself and not becoming a different person. Like, if somebody wants you to not be you, then you're not in the right relationship. Like,
Right.
so many people feel like they can't be themselves, and that frustrates me, because it's like, that's just missing the point. Like, this is your life. Like, if you can't be yourself in a relationship, I don't care if you used to could be yourself, and it's been 2 years that you haven't, and it's just not working, then you have to be brave and maybe take a step back. Maybe you'll get back together, but it's important to be true to yourself, and to, like I said, rely on yourself for happiness. Because it's not fair to be like, you're not making me happy. Like, that's not somebody's job to make you happy.
Yeah,
That is very
nobody
true.
else can do it. I don't like. Do any of y'all do like the Red Table Talk?
I have watched those.
I've watched a few of them.
Yeah, so it was one episode where her and Will, like, they were doing like a 2-part episode. But one thing that I've heard them say, just in general, a lot, is that they never really worked on their marriage more than they worked on themselves. So they made themselves better and because of it, but their focus was always working through their own demons, figuring out their own triggers, and working through, like, fixing those things so it wasn't an issue anymore when they dealt with those things inside of their marriage. And I really think that's kind of like what you were saying. Well, that is what you were saying. But yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. Like, I think so many people be like, oh, well, you don't make me happy and whatever. Like, happiness is an internal decision.
Yeah.
Like, you have to be like, I'm gonna be happy for me. Like, what I say is, no one should make you happy. They should just make you happier. They should just make you a better version of who you already are. Like, if my happiness depends on your mood swings and what you got going on, then I'm gonna be miserable.
Correct.
Because I gotta live my own life, let alone trying to be the crutch for you and what you got going on. You know what I'm saying?
You both said something interesting about communication, and you had said that you can communicate all day, but it doesn't matter if you're not understanding.
Right.
And like, what I think that what happens with people is, so like, you know how a dude, like, you can tell your girl, like, hey, shut up, right? She will feel disrespected, right?
Right.
And sometimes that may not be coming from a disrespectful place. If that makes sense, like, because shut up doesn't have to just mean stop talking. Like, you also need to listen. Like, literally stop whatever you're thinking and just listen. Because at that point, then that's where you can get to a place of understanding. And I feel like that's the type of communication you need to have with your spouse or your partner or whoever it is. Like, you guys need to be able to, whatever's going on, all right, you done now? And then you can go, and that would be communication.
I think a lot of people talk like how we text. Like, when you're texting, when you're arguing with someone, you know what I mean? How, like, they say one thing and you're like, oh, I got this. I'm about to say this before you even get a chance to reply. Like, that's how people talk to each other. Just like, oh, you said somebody, like, I'm gonna answer that. I'm not even listening to you anymore. I'm just waiting for you to shut up so I can say what I gotta say.
Right.
You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Instead of saying, all right, say what you gotta say. And then I'll respond.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think that's why a lot of people
I think that's our,
are arguing.
right now, that's our
Yeah,
issue.
yeah.
It is.
We do that, and I think even deeper than that, we communicate for the purposes of somebody agreeing with us. Like, it's not like we're hearing them and trying to understand what they're saying. We just want to speak enough to get them to be like, okay, so you see how I'm right now?
Right.
So finally you get me? Like, you get that I was correct.
Right.
And it's not really, like, it's not always a right or wrong. Sometimes it's just two differences of opinions, and they both exist, and that's okay.
Yeah, like, people, like, just because, so, like, a lot of times people will say, well, that wasn't my intent. And intent does matter when you're speaking to someone, but at the end of the day, it's how they received it. And to listen to that, like, okay, hey, this is what I meant, and I get how you it came off this way. So help me understand why you took it that way, so I can, you know, maybe do a better job of it next time I bring it up.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But I think so many people are just, like Kim said, I want to be right. Like, I'm going to barter you in my opinion until you just basically conceive, like, all right, whatever, yep, you're right. Like, I was famous for doing that in my marriage. It was like, you right. Like, I didn't even want to hear it. It was just like, you got it. It's not even worth it. I'm tired. I just got home from work. Yeah, you're right. You got it. I'll take out the trash, whatever. You know, instead of saying like, oh, why does this really make you upset, so we can effectively move forward.
It happens too when like you get tired of arguing, because I don't like to argue. So you get just shutting down, all right, cool, whatever. But after a while, if that root issue is not being addressed, then it turns into resentment, and now you just, I can't stand the way you breathe. Like, everything that person does is gonna irk you, and it's all because you guys never came to an understanding of what the problem was way back in 2017 or whenever, when you had this. And a lot of times it can get buried, and all of a sudden you just have this sour, bitter feeling towards somebody over something that, a misunderstanding that maybe you just weren't seeing each other like clearly or whatever, because that resentment can be serious.
Them arguments about something that happened 4 months ago hit different. You just walk in and be like, you know what? I'm really mad about this, but you know what? Today, why you would take the trash out? Because you lazy. So you don't ever listen to me. You be like, this ain't over trash.
Why are you this mad?
Like, why are you so mad? I just didn't take the trash out. My bad.
Right.
But really, it's like, yeah, because you just took it. You felt like your feelings weren't going to be validated, so you just locked it inside yourself, and it's going to come out eventually.
It comes out in different ways.
Whether you drinking or whatnot. So that brings me to another topic. I also want to go off script here. What do you guys think about the things that people say when you're arguing? Do you think it's just like heightened emotions, or do you think it's a little honesty to what, the things that they're saying, and then amongst that argument?
Yep, that's the opinions.
Usually a mix. Yeah.
Both.
Both.
Like, she might not feel like, you know, you're their lowest piece of trash, or she might not actually
Just like your dad.
You know what I'm saying? But she knows if she says this, that's really gonna get to you.
Them pressure point arguments, man.
Yeah.
I hate that stuff, man.
Like, why would you say that? Like, you know how I feel about that.
We can argue and like not even go to that place. Let's just argue and be mad, and then
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
you know,
Gotta get dark.
why are you talking about my dead grandma?
Right, like,
Yeah.
that hurt.
Yeah.
Like, and then the thing is that they hurt you, and you come right back with, all right, well, that's what we doing? All right, bags of tricks.
Yeah.
Bringing up the kid. Yeah, I don't even really like that.
You said
No.
That's like, dang.
No.
Please, man. Like, where is this coming from?
No, there was one person I didn't like that kid for real.
Oh.
I didn't like their parenting style for real though. I didn't like they kid, like, I hate bad kids. Like, I can't even, like, what was that show, Raising Dion or whatever?
I still haven't watched that.
I didn't even watch it. The first 2 episodes, he pissed me off so much because he was just a bad kid. He was just like doing all that, and I'm just like, no, like my daughter is so malmannered, so for me to go from a kid that I could talk to and respect to go to your bad kid, I can't do it. I can't do bad kids. They irk my, I can't even watch the TV show, bro. I was in episode 2, I was like, nope.
Like, it reminded you of the kid?
The kid was bad in the show. I couldn't even watch it. I knew it was fake, but I still couldn't watch it. I can't stand bad kids, bro. It's a bad people mine. Bad kid, I can't date you.
Yeah.
So you asked that on the first date? How behavior your children?
Hey, you could just, you know, when you got kids, people talk about their kids. So you start telling me stuff, I'm like, your kids sound bad as hell. Nah, check please. I can't even do it. But someone did ask earlier, I'm sorry we didn't talk about it. Someone asked about the living situation. Do you think it's okay to live in? Because Their point is, and I agree, I think I said this to you before earlier, is that when you live with someone, you get to know them on a different level. So there is a benefit to it. But with that being said, what do you guys think about that?
The biggest benefit for me would be the finances. But like just the dream of splitting bills. But besides that, I'm cool. And it could be simply because I had a very terrible experience with living with somebody, and I just shied away from it. But if I plan on marrying somebody, then yes, I think we should live together during our engagement, because I need to know this is the last step.
I agree. I think that's a compromise for me. It's like, I'm really not trying to live with someone while I'm in a relationship. Like, you got yours, I got mine. But
Yeah.
I do think it's fair, if you are engaged, well, then that's our next step.
Mhm.
Well, let's see what this can be. Because a lot of times you can be engaged to someone and during that engagement be like, nah.
Yes,
I'm good.
I think that it's best to probably move in during the engagement, because, I mean, if you want to marry, like, I don't know, things can really change.
So we did not live together. We got married in July 21st. We signed our lease the beginning of July. We didn't live together at all until the day after our wedding. And that was something that I was strict about. One, because I have a son. So I didn't want to tie myself financially to anything. But, we discussed it for a little bit and we thought about it. And I said, if it's not us learning how to live together, it's always going to be something that comes up inside of a marriage where you have to learn how to do life. So for us, we just decided it that way. We said, if it's not going to be this, it's going to be some crazy situation that happens, or, it's always going to be some kind of circumstance that will challenge the relationship.
For sure.
So for us, it just wasn't something that was worth the sacrifice. So that's my stance on it. I just,
Would
financially,
you recommend that to somebody, to go the same way, or if you had a good advice to somebody?
So we're moving into 2 years of marriage, and it's been amazing.
That's awesome.
I love it. I'm happy. But we took time really getting to know each other. So we dated, we've been together about 6 years now. So we were together for a while before we even got married. But we took time to just connect, like on spiritual levels, on emotional levels, before we ever engaged in anything physical even. So it just depends on how you date. I think if you take time to really get to know a person, you don't necessarily have to live with them to really know them.
That's the route I would want to take. We're going to get to know each other real well before we live together.
I would say, I don't know, because I was at a point in my life where I would say, like, there's absolutely no way I'm going to marry you if I don't live with you. But the older I get, the more I'm like, the way that I view marriage now, if you get me to the point where I'm going to marry you, it doesn't really matter if I live with you before or not. Because I'm going to take, like, whoever I do decide to marry whenever it happens. It's just not going to be anytime soon. And, like, it's because of all the things that I've had to deal with or whatever, and now, like, I have a child, so it's very, 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 very important that, like, if you are around my child, that you are going to be around my child for the rest of his life. Because I don't want anybody around him that, that's going to be flaky. It's like I'm very, like, real selective about who I have it with. So if, by that same, like, if I introduce you to my child, if I introduce you to my family, whatever, hey, I want to marry you, like, good, but, like, I'm going to do it anyway, so, like, it really doesn't matter what we do before.
Gotcha. Okay, I'll put on that. So we'll get to our last topic. It's always a huge thing in relationships. Are there rules for social media when you're in a relationship? She said, yes, please.
This new social media age is just killing me. But I will say, if you have a large issue in a relationship with social media, your issue is not social media. It's trust, it's insecurity, it's disrespect. It is not social media. I don't think that it should be a problem. It should not be a problem. Because if it is, in my opinion, it is not social media that's your issue. And the real issue should be addressed.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I feel.
I completely agree.
Totally agree.
Mhm.
Like I just.
Literally have nothing to say.
I mean, I feel like there's some standards like, you know, if you are in a relationship, you shouldn't be hitting nobody with the hey stranger in their DMs. Nah, we good on that level. You know what I'm saying? But like, you liking the picture, like the only time I have an issue with it, and that still stems from what you're saying, like far as trust, like if you always on the stage, nah.
Yeah.
You looking for something.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I know how now a lot of us, like, and I get a lot of y'all stuff like, oh, such and such update their status. That's a little bit different. I'm talking about, like, you just always on their page.
Yeah.
You
You like
looking for
every
something.
picture?
Every
Every picture?
Yeah.
Right? You really that
What you
picture
trying
from
to do?
2012?
Right,
You
like-
just
Right.
did you just hard eye that?
Yeah, like,
Right,
what was you
like-
trying to do? But like, it's funny, I was like kind of talking about this with like one of my friends before I came here, and I was like, you know, I don't even understand why social media is like that big of a deal. Cause like, okay, let's say I like a picture,
Mhm.
and I guess you see how that's, I'm with you.
Period.
I am touching and feeling you, not this person. That person is a figment of my imagination. It is just basically a joke.
I
Yeah.
also like how Rihanna looks. I'm
Right.
not playing.
It's
Get
literally-
to
These people are attractive.
me.
I'm sorry, like.
But you shouldn't be. When you're in a relationship, people don't magically become unattractive. Period.
Right.
They just don't.
Yeah.
People are still
Yes.
attractive. Like,
Yeah.
other than your partner. Yes, I'm with you. Yes, he's good with you. It's okay.
Now, granted, I'm not gonna be screenshotting the person's pictures,
No.
but I'm probably gonna like them, because most of the time when you're on your phone, you're just bored. You just like, oh, that's dope. Like,
Yeah.
that's all it is.
Sometimes I like ironically, or like, you know, sarcastically. Wow, she's bold. Like,
Like,
But if you're out on, you know, when you're on dates or you're out trying to go to sleep or anything is you're constantly on your phone, that's another issue. Like, that's when social media can be an issue. Like, yo.
Yeah.
yeah, I don't like somebody who always in their phone.
No, I don't like that with the kids.
Like, if we on a date, you should be able to put your
Yeah.
phone away for
Period.
45 minutes and us, you know, talk.
Yeah.
That is,
I thank God that I was in the last group of people who did
Right.
not have social media. Thank you, Lord, for making me
Oh,
feel
God,
ready.
yeah.
Thank you. Because I just know the beauty in talking to people and not just being on your phone constantly. Like, it's just that. And I can't stand these kids don't go play outside. I can't stand it. That's all.
I agree, and like to Tyrone's point, like it's weird. Like, I remember it was a couple months ago, and I saw this woman, and you know, in the bar scene and stuff like that, you can kind of peep somebody. I feel like a lot of us either meet people at bars or like work because you can kind of look at them and see if you got a vibe with them. But like, I went up to this chick and I was like, "Hey, what's going on?" And she was just taken back. She was like, and she said something that was so interesting to me. I will never forget this. She was just like kind of weirded out because she wasn't used to being hit on in person. Like she does all her dating through apps, and I've ran into a few people like that. Like people literally just only meet people on dating apps. Like they don't walk up to a girl like, "Hey, what's going on? Let me buy you a drink." Like that's just gone now.
But there's some things that have killed that. Just saying, like, you can't really approach people the same way that you used to be able to because of another thing that social media has created is like a hypersensitivity
Yeah.
to everything.
Right.
So like, when I was like 21, like I'm in the club all the time, I would approach a girl because like that, you know, it's like whatever, you're used to that. Now if I go to the club, no, like I'm really not about to be on that because I'm not trying to be on the news tomorrow.
Me too.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't
He
do.
trying to talk to me.
He really can't.
Right.
I just thought you should. Hey, how are you? Can I buy you a drink? No? Okay. Having a great night.
It's a fact.
That's it. That's all I was trying to do. Like,
That's
what you
literally
want?
what I do when I go to the bar. Like I buy you a drink, I walk away. Like, cause I don't want you to think I'm sweating you. If you want to talk to me, we'll end up entanglement again at one point in time during this night. But yeah, I mean, you got these people who just like I don't know. I think like with social media, people have this image of themselves that's like bigger than what they really are. Like, okay, you might have like 2,000 friends on your Facebook, but how many of them do you really fuck with?
Stay down
Like, okay, you get 300 likes, but again, how many people can you call if you need to borrow some money? Like, you ain't really that big. You know what I'm saying? Like, and social media gives people all this fake identity, this fake love and support, and it's like they really don't rock with you for real.
I'm team get off social media for extended periods of time, all the time. It's great. Everybody should do it sometime.
Just take some
'Cause
edibles.
it's just you. If you try it, you just notice the moment you are like, it's just crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's just not. I don't know. It just bothers me. But I'm an old-fashioned person. So.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But I think that in general, technology kind of gives us a feeling that we're connected to people in ways that we aren't.
Yeah,
like I started
absolutely.
changing out like my text message conversations with actually linking up with people and saying like,
Right.
hey, let's just meet up for coffee.
Right.
And I'm
right, that's so
like,
much
dang,
right.
like I wasn't really connecting with you as much as I thought I was.
Right. It's
Like sitting down
anti-social
over
media.
scones and
For
right.
real.
I hate it. Like, even if I get somebody's number, I really don't want to text you. I still leave voicemails.
I'm a texter.
I still listen to.
Do you?
I still listen to my voicemail.
I do too.
It's tough.
Like, I don't want to text you. I got stuff I need to be doing. I don't want to sit here and text you all day. And 9 times out of 10, when we're texting each other, something's going to get lost in the shuffle anyway.
That's true. That.
Especially if it's something serious, we need to talk. We ain't
Like,
got to do
like you do a joke, like, you have to put LOL to let the person know you joking. If not, they're going to think that you... What?
You know, that doesn't work well for me because, like, I'm extremely sarcastic at times. Like, she will tell you, I am. It is ridiculous how sarcastic I am. So, like, I'll be texting somebody and I'll say something and, like, I know that I'm joking, but, like, they'll be like, wow, you're mean. No, I'm not, man. It's just a joke.
That's why I use the emojis to try to, like...
But then I'll be feeling like that's too much. It's a lot that goes on in my head, man. So I
Right.
just kind of, I don't even really try at this point. It's just like I am focused on whatever I'm trying to do because I'm not really trying to, you know, have you thinking I'm some creep because I sent you like 10 laughing emojis because I thought it was that funny. You know?
Right.
I don't know.
You overthinking, bro.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think it's just interesting how technology, like in some ways, I think it makes it easier to socialize with people. But I do think like I've had those awkward dates where maybe we had some amazing text message conversations and then we finally met up and it was so dry, like he wouldn't hold a conversation. I was just like, oh, okay.
I once went on a date with someone who thought live jazz was like mall music. So like, of course, like I'm really hype about the date. I'm like, oh yeah, we probably listen to some live jazz. And she was just like, I'm just like, and we got there and she's like, oh, this is what you meant.
Wait, ooh.
Yes, this is what I meant. Like, man, you just lost so many different points. Hey, you've never listened to live jazz before? Man, you sounded so interesting in your text messages.
Everybody's not into jazz, right? Maybe if you would have took it.
I mean, if they text about it, though, they should have. I mean, there is Google.
I know.
Right, like if you never listened to live jazz, you could have easily YouTubed it one time. Just to, like,
Let me see
So
where
you
I'm
want
about
to
to
do research on the
go.
date?
ain't that what people do now?
I'm not researching that.
I don't know where I'm going.
I guess I am.
I like to
'cause,
be in the
I do
know,
look,
at least
like,
a
what
little
am I
bit.
Yeah.
I guess I do research.
People,
for dates.
people,
Never
people
mind.
Googling you, doing the backstories.
Just a little much.
I've literally seen it. I've seen people do it like, oh yeah, I got a date with this guy. Kind of Google him.
Hey,
It's
listen,
like-
this is, girls is getting snatched up. I need to
I'm one
make
of
sure.
those.
I'm
I'm
texting
one
my
of those
friends,
people.
this is who I'm with, this is his number, this is where we're
Yeah.
gonna be.
Picture if I could have.
Y'all
like,
don't have
I
to think
was
about that as
somewhere.
much as girls do.
We don't.
Hey, but I do. I really do. Like,
What?
if I'm going over a chick's house for the first time, I'm texting somebody the address.
Oh
Yeah,
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 for
but
sure.
that's it.
Smart. I
Oh,
Like-
for sure. Yeah, I'm not. Mm-mm.
Go be like, why does this drink smell a little?
For real, you gotta cut
Yeah,
that
and it
track.
happens.
Girls are really robbing dudes out here.
Heck yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Like, so,
They
it's
are.
not like you gonna get much, but
And I'm circling the block like 3-4 times just to make sure ain't no parked cars there. Like, hold on, let me peek this. Let me peek the scene real quick.
Women now are gangsters.
They are.
Like they really are.
It's a different type of women out here. Like my uncle say all the time, he's like, I feel sorry for y'all. I'm like, bro, you don't understand. Like, these women out here are savages now.
Yeah.
Like,
Again, that's why.
like girls will just hit you up like, hey,
Chilling.
drop that D off, bro. What?
Like, yeah, they really talk like that. Like,
Crazy.
See, I was never that bold.
Like, man, you couldn't make me even pretend that I was trying
they
to.
tell me what they want, right?
They're tripping.
But I think a lot of women were used to getting used like that.
Yeah.
So they were just like, man, forget it. About to.
Well, I think now it's like basically men, most of us grew up like watching men do our moms wrong. So we're a lot more sensitive. So we're like, we honestly want to be good dudes. But on the flip side, those same girls
Yeah.
saw their dads
So they don't trust
do that. So they just automatically like, and some of the dads will be like, they're like, yeah, don't you never blah, 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 blah. And then that's how she just grows up. She's just like, love, nah, I'm good.
Yeah.
Give me the cash app it.
It sucks. Because I think it's important, like, I don't have a daughter yet. But, like, you want to teach your children, especially like women, you want to teach them to be independent. You know, you shouldn't have to depend on, even if you want to get married, you should not have to depend on this man for you to survive. You need to be able to survive independently of him. But, like, in that message, it should also be like, hey, don't go around telling dudes that you don't need them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right,
Like,
right.
like, that's, don't go that extreme.
Right.
Like, understand who you are, be who, you know, and then if some guy that comes around that's good for you.
It's like, it's really women out here who want like sponsors. Like, why do I have to pay your bills? I got my own bills to pay.
Because
I
that's
got-
how granddad did it.
Right.
I would be living in a box if I was waiting on somebody to pay my bills.
Trying to break.
For real.
Yeah.
What you?
That's awkward.
Mm-mm.
I mean, like,
I can't date no man who can't support me. Support yourself. Like,
Yeah, but see, that's part of the reason why I dated the way I dated. Because I just don't believe in tying finances in general.
yes.
Like, I'm not going to ask you to pay for nothing.
right.
I'm not paying for your stuff. Like, if we're together and you need help, that's one thing. Like, maybe we can help each other as needed. But I don't want to set any precedents that I need you for your finances. Like, we're getting to know each other because we're getting to know each other. And we just want that, but I'm not bringing a light bill to a third date.
Like, you take care of this.
Right. This came in the mail today and I've been so depressed. Just look at
Just sitting in the dark.
Right.
Just
Just
my
sitting in the dark.
lights. Getting
What?
used to my lights about to be cut
Right.
Why
off.
would I
Trying to get
marry
used
that,
to it.
Exactly.
So as women, how do y'all feel about people who always like, they trying to be funny, but they always like sharing their cash app on their Facebook and stuff?
I feel like, to each his own, but what's your purpose? I mean, maybe it works for them. I don't know. I hate asking for stuff, so I don't know.
And on the flip side, I be wondering, like, do there really be dudes, like the same
Yes.
dudes who sit
Yes.
it's just like
100%. 100%.
What?
But then what are you about to do
So-
for the cash out?
Man, think how many women have private Snapchats right now? Selling pics of videos.
Oh yeah,
They getting paid.
that's crazy. Like, wait a minute,
Modern nation.
you selling your
It
nudes?
is.
What type of line of work is this?
Right.
Hey, I feel like to each his own.
Yeah, I'm not
But
gonna
I
hate
ain't
on her hustle.
posting
I mean,
no.
Yeah.
Get
I'm
your
not
money.
mad at
No.
it. But I couldn't imagine being a man paying to see women naked. Because, I mean, Google is free.
Xvideos.com.
It's
I'm not paying for nothing. Like,
There's a whole
It's-
lot of free porn.
a whole lot of free porn.
Yeah.
Like, what you
A
mean?
whole-
They even got webcam stuff now. I don't know.
Or you could just, meet
As a person, you know, yeah.
That's my favorite.
There, that is my favorite too. You know, this whole thing is like, hey, person, nice to meet you. You know?
It's cool, but like, also, in real life,
You totally can do this.
I don't know, I don't understand people.
Me either. Well, we
My birthday is tomorrow. My Cash App might be posted.
Hey, I know about posting my
It's okay
cash
for
on my birthday. Like, look.
No.
That's a little bit different.
That is so
That's
okay.
different. That, like, I've literally seen women put like, this is their name. This is my Cash App. You know, send me money if you even want me to like respond to a DM. Like, wait, talk about.
Oh, I've
I
seen
have
that.
to
I've seen that too.
I have to pay a cover charge for your DMs, and no.
Who are
No,
these
absolutely not.
what kind of diseases are they?
You can't send me 300. Don't even be in my DMs. My time is money.
It's the business, I guess.
And some people feel like that's valid. I mean, some people feel like they're weeding out the people who are serious versus those who aren't, but I just feel like it's better ways.
But you're being purchased, like how? This is, I don't know.
Right.
No,
Basically.
please continue.
Like,
Please
I was
continue.
trying to gather my thoughts here. Like, okay, I'm weeding out who's serious, and so if you're serious about talking to me, you gotta send me this amount of money. Okay, I work for my money, so now what are you gonna do for me? Now we're talking business instead of getting to know each other.
Right.
This is a transaction. You're gonna give me money, and I'm supposed to do what now? Text you back. I'm cool.
I already sent the money when you on your way, girl.
Right, like,
Right.
now you
And
owe,
then also,
you
why
owe
do
down.
Why do men talk to me like this? Why am I being approached this way?
Right.
Yeah, because you're naked in your profile picture, maybe, I don't know. But,
You know, and, there's
yeah.
gonna be creeps, obviously, but
Definitely.
at the end of the day, I mean, the energy that you give out is what you're gonna get back.
100%.
That's what I believe. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, I don't know, but if you give out the energy that like you can be purchased, there are plenty of people with money, so they're gonna come like, what's up? And they not there for your personality.
Right.
Right.
If I was gonna give girls the game, I would say put some clothes on because everybody else is naked. You're probably gonna get more attention these days being dressed, just cause.
You
I don't know though.
You're going to receive a better quality,
see a lot.
I
like,
don't know.
I see.
don't
I see a
know.
nice combination of stuff out there.
Might be intrigued a little bit more. I mean, you don't leave anything to imagination.
Well,
I don't know. I'm not a man. I don't know.
I would tell you
I am in psychology.
that,
though.
like, if you were to put on clothes, you would probably get people to take you maybe more seriously.
Yeah, it's like, what are you
but
offering?
wouldn't get the same attention, because if I have to choose between
Looking at
the picture that's gonna get the like, and it's not personal, it's just,
No, I get it.
this is visually a
Stimulating.
lot more appealing right
Right.
now. Be kind of like, would you like a picture of a steak or a picture of, say, a leaf?
True, true.
I'm
get that,
actually,
though.
I'm actually the opposite. I don't like twerk videos at all.
Like,
You know what I'm talking about? Like,
Just
I'm
talk
talking
about
about,
little
It's a quick picture. I say video. It's like I'm not saying that I'm hyper.
like some dudes like really like those booty videos.
They
They like,
do.
and the girls like half naked, and
Yeah.
I'm just like, swipe. I don't want to see that crap.
I get
Well,
what
that's
you're
a-
saying
it's
for
a
the
time and place.
visual, but if you're trying to be taken seriously, or you want somebody to actually like know what your favorite color is, maybe you should carry yourself a certain way. I understand.
No,
But if you
no.
just want your cash app to be loaded, then
I'm gonna
I
send you
get
this
it,
money
too.
for the Fashion Nova outfit you want.
So you choose on, boy.
Those girls are making a lot of money right now.
They
Man.
are. Seriously.
I don't knock them.
I'm not mad at it. I mean, I think people should do what works for them.
Yeah,
I mean,
yourself.
as many people that respect the clean cut, clothed
Absolutely.
woman, there are people who love, like, I
Yeah.
mean, the Amber Roses of the world.
Yeah.
Amber
She
Rose-
stayed
is
with
she
a
married?
relationship.
I don't know.
She's been married. I
Yeah,
think she's
well-
in a relationship with somebody right now. They just had a baby.
Yeah.
I feel
But-
like as long as you're
There's
being
always somebody that
you,
like it.
ultimately.
Somebody, yeah.
Yeah.
You shouldn't feel obligated or like, no one's gonna like me if I don't do this. But if that is you, then you should always be you at all
Yeah.
times.
Because there's somebody
All
out there
the
who
time.
likes it.
Absolutely. Just be yourself.
Agreed. Well, we're gonna go ahead and end it on that note. All right.